So I am an official YouTuber. I got one of these bad boys now. The game's about to change. Shalom everyone, my name's Zest and I'm taking you on my conversion to Judaism. As I dive deeper and deeper into my conversion, I'm realizing that I'm at a place where I need to organize my culture. And that goes for my actual heritage, my Haitian culture, and the values that I was raised in. And now balancing my Jewish life with Jewish culture and all that I'm learning. So I wanted to talk about a few things you can do to help balance both cultures in your life, especially if you're converting from a very ethnic culture like mine. You know, I'm Haitian. Both my parents were Haitian immigrants, and they came here at a very young age, worked their butts off, and established a life in America. And I'm forever grateful for this country because I wouldn't be here had my parents not come here for a better life. So since they came to this country, my parents have also had their culture, their way of living, and inculcated great values within me. And on my journey, I've been thinking, like, do I have to get rid of this stuff? Like, I was conflicted. I would think, like, I guess I can't say this or do that. And as I was talking to, like, people online and my rabbi and people in the community, I realized that a lot of things just need to be set in stone and things need to be clear. So I wrote down a few things to how to balance the two cultures, because I'll be Jewish. You know, my children will be Jewish, my family will be Jewish. But, you know, here's the family I was raised with that knows nothing about Judaism, that I wouldn't say nothing, but we won't be celebrating the same holidays, and you know, things can easily get messy. So let's dive into how we can kind of organize things a bit, or how I plan on organizing it, because my family's huge and they need to be told what to do or it's going to be crazy. Okay, so the first thing I would say is choose the culture you want to lead with. For me, I'm making a promise to lead my life with Judaism. I'm going to be living a Jewish life and following the Torah the best that I can. And I had to say that out loud because there's going to be easy temptations for me to go back and to be like, oh wait, like I kind of miss doing that. Maybe I should just do Christmas this one time, or maybe I should just go out this Saturday night and like Saturday brunch with my family, or maybe I could just drive, like what's the big deal? And I have to go back and remember my commitment to Hashem, and my reason for converting in the first place is, you know, I'm making a commitment to keep the Sabbath, to eat kosher, to follow the Torah in its entirety. And I have to make it very clear to everyone that this is exactly how I'm going to live my life. Because still in this part of my conversion, people are still a bit skeptical and still don't really believe it. And I feel like it's going to be like that for a while, probably until I have children and I start raising them Jewish. Then people will be like, oh, so she was serious all these years. Yeah, I kind of was. So that also falls into like their timing with things and when they want to accept things. I don't have like control over that. So I try not to worry about that. What I have control over is, you know, I made a commitment. I have to follow through with it, and I have to be consistent, because honestly, in the beginning of this conversion, I was still like teeter-tottering into like, not necessarily like Christianity, but into like more Haitian culture and dabbling into Jewish culture still. And people are just like, wait, aren't you supposed to, oh wait, aren't you? And I'm just like, you know what? This is getting confusing. I need to make it official and just lead with what I chose to lead with, which is Judaism. So next, I decided to make a list of all the things I love about my Haitian culture and make a list of all the things I love about like Jewish culture and figure out what stays, what goes type of thing. And when I made my list, I realized a lot of things were similar. Some of the things that I love about like my Haitian culture is, honestly, I don't even know if it's a Haitian thing, but it's something we grew up with, was every New Year's, we would eat soup together. And we would only, I don't know. We would just eat soup together. And maybe it's probably my family custom. And we would just make sure we were all together. And this is something I love to do with my family, and something that I hope it's not against Jewish culture. I haven't read anything about New Year's, but it's something that I truly enjoy. And it's also about family. It's about being together. And I don't see the problem with bringing that into my Jewish life. An example of something that needs to go is Christmas. And since, we're creeping up on the holiday season, this will be my last Christmas with my family. And between you and I've probably said this before, I'm not a fan of Christmas. I'm not a decorator. I'm not like, well, as you can see, my apartment's getting better. But like, I'm really not like too fancy with things. I don't think I'm the best gift giver. I also don't ask for things, so there's that. But I don't like to spend the money. Like, Christmas to me turned into a whole commercialized thing where we have to spend thousands of dollars to one up on gifts. I'm just not like that. And me, I like to give my time. I give my time to my family and my effort to them and my love to them. And to me, that's the best gift of all. But they have their family traditions with Christmas, and I know that's something that needs to go. I don't believe in it, so I'm not going to be celebrating it anymore. And this ties into my first point, is I have to remember the culture that I'm leading with, which is Judaism. And it's going to stir up a lot of emotions, and people don't like change. People are also afraid that I'm gonna like go to hell, so I'm like, listen, this is my life. This is what I choose to do. I'm grown. I'm 30 years old almost, and I don't need to be faking who I am anymore. This is the truth. This is what I'm doing. And I'm deciding what stays and what goes. So there are things, what's another example I can give you? Like my Haitian food. I love Haitian food. Growing up, I hated it. Now, as an adult, I have way more appreciation for it. And there's a few things that I can't really make anymore, but there are a lot of things that I could make kosher. So that's something I'm definitely bringing from my Caribbean side into the Jewish. And I think I'm heading towards a very, very interesting Jewish life, to be honest. And these are things that in my life growing up that I'm not going to let go because I'm converting to Judaism. I'm going to take it, and it's going to enhance my Jewish life. It's a positive thing. And things that go against my Jewish life won't make it into my life. If I could say life one more time. You guys should know what I'm saying, right? Okay. The next thing is getting people on board with my new culture. And this means getting them involved, like teaching my parents about the culture, teaching them things that they can teach their new Jewish grandchildren, or educating them on what we eat, why we eat certain things, and just helping them understand why I chose to live my life this way in the first place, which I think might be the toughest thing in all of this, is getting them to see my life through my eyes and why I'm choosing to live this way. It's a culture shock for them, because this is going to be, they didn't have a vision for my life being this way. That's not what they want. So they are going to give me pushback for it. I've already gotten a lot of pushback for it, but slowly people are starting to come around, and I'm also not in a rush for that either. This is something that's going to take a lot of time, and I'm ready to hold their hand through it all. I plan on getting people on board by just going at their pace and slowly introducing new traditions, new things, new learnings to them as time goes on. So another thing about both cultures is I'm trying to look for similarities to bring people closer together. A similarity that I find in Judaism that we did in Christianity was the importance of the family, right? Judaism for sure emphasizes that way more, but Shabbat is a perfect example, because instead of Saturday dinners, growing up, we did Sunday dinners every Sunday. And, there was a meal. We all prayed together. We all sang together. Like, we would go to service. We would go to church Sunday morning and then have a big lunch and then eat again for dinner. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with Shabbat. Every Saturday I'll be having a Shabbat meal, and I can't wait for the day where my family can sit with my own family on a Shabbat dinner. I'm gonna definitely record that for YouTube in the years to come. And I do think once they realize that there are a lot of similarities in this culture, they'll embrace it much more easier and understand that it feels just like home. So the last thing I'm going to say is there's always that lingering guilt in my conversion, like I'm leaving this part of me behind, and it creeps up every now and then, and it's not something that I'm ashamed of. It's not something that I'm going to hide. Every now and then I feel like, oh no, like am I negating this part of me? Am I neglecting it? And am I doing the right thing? Am I emphasizing who I am in this culture? And sometimes comments can get to me. Sometimes my guilt can get to me. But then I always go back and realize why I'm doing this whole thing in the first place. And it comes down to my values and the things that I appreciate and cherish the most, which are family, which is Hashem, and which is living a religious life. And I always refer back to it once somebody says like a weird comment to me, or I start to feel like I'm being restricted, or if I think the rules are too much. I always go back to that because it is very similar to how I grew up. It is very similar to how my mother raised me. And I don't want to feel like I'm not able to live my life purposely, or that I don't have meaning, because I do. I'm learning to ignore that feeling and just move forward and be more positive about my future, because only greatness can come when you embrace Hashem into your life. And I've been seeing that happen every day in my conversion. So balancing two different cultures is going to be an experience. It is an experience. I'm over here, Haitian, Black, Jewish. And honestly, I love it all. It's who I am. It's what I identify as, I guess. But above everything, I'm me. I'm S, and I will forever be that girl. Shalom.